They said his children were beyond saving. Broken. Untouchable. The therapists gave up. The nannies quit crying. Even he, the most feared man in Seoul's underworld, couldn't reach them. But when Jang Ji-hoon walked into his mansion that afternoon, guns still warm from a meeting that ended in blood, he saw something that stopped him cold. His children. Sitting. Smiling. Transformed. And standing over them, a woman he'd barely noticed before. A stranger who wasn't supposed to matter. A maid who somehow held the key to the one thing his billions couldn't buy, his children's broken hearts. But in Ji-hoon's world, nothing is ever that simple. And this woman? She's hiding something that could destroy them all. If you love dark romance, forbidden love, and stories that'll have you on the edge of your seat, subscribe and turn on notifications, because this story is about to get dangerous. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Jang Ji-hoon's Armani shoes echoed against marble as he entered his mansion. Blood still stained the cuff of his white shirt, not his own. The meeting with the Busan cartel had gone exactly as he'd planned, swift, brutal, final. He loosened his tie, expecting the usual. Silence. Empty rooms. His children locked away in their separate wings, refusing to eat, refusing to live. But today, voices drifted from the dining hall. Children's voices. Laughing. Ji-hoon froze mid-step, his hand instinctively moving to the gun at his waist. In 3 years, he had never heard that sound in this house. He moved forward like a predator, silent, lethal, and stopped at the doorway. What he saw made no sense. 7-year-old Seo-jun sat at the head of the table, actually using a fork. The boy who once threw knives at his tutors was cutting his food carefully, proudly showing someone his plate. Min-ji, his daughter who hadn't spoken in 6 months, was talking. Actual words. "Miss Mildred, can I have more juice please? The mango one?" And Hae-won, the youngest, the most damaged, was smiling as she ate, her legs swinging under the chair, a sight so foreign it felt like witnessing a ghost. But it was the woman beside them who held Ji-hoon captive. She was tall, deep brown skin that seemed to glow in the afternoon light, her hair wrapped elegantly in a silk scarf. She moved with a quiet grace that didn't match her station, pouring juice, touching Min-ji's shoulder gently, laughing softly at something Seo-jun said. Mildred Ozarumba. The new housemaid his head of staff hired 2 weeks ago. He'd seen her only once, a brief encounter in the hallway. He'd barely registered her existence. How had he missed this? Excellent job, Hae-won, Mildred said, her voice warm and rich with a slight accent. You ate all your vegetables. You know what that means? Story time, all 3 children chorused. Story time? His children? Seo-jun noticed him first. The boy's smile vanished instantly, replaced by the cold mask Ji-hoon knew too well. Father. The temperature in the room dropped. Mildred turned, and for a fraction of a second, something flashed in her dark eyes, not fear exactly, but recognition. Assessment. As if she were measuring a threat. Then she bowed respectfully. Mr. Jang. We weren't expecting you. Clearly. His voice came out harder than intended. Min-ji's fork clattered to her plate. Hae-won stopped swinging her legs. The magic evaporated like smoke. Children, Mildred said gently, why don't you finish your meals? Your father is home. But they were already retreating into themselves, the light dimming from their eyes. Ji-hoon watched his daughter push her plate away, watched his son's hands curl into fists, watched the youngest stare at her lap. All because he'd entered the room. Something dark and painful twisted in his chest. Mr. Jang, Mildred said quietly, perhaps we could speak in the hallway? It wasn't a request from a subordinate. It was a calm assertion from an equal. No one spoke to him like that. No one dared. Intrigued and irritated, Ji-hoon nodded once and stepped into the corridor. Mildred followed, closing the door gently behind her. Who are you? He demanded. She met his eyes without flinching. I'm the woman who got your children to eat lunch, Mr. Jang. Properly. For the first time in months, according to your staff. How? I listened to them. I've hired 12 specialists. Who treated them like problems to solve. Her voice remained respectful but firm. They're not problems. They're children drowning in grief, and everyone around them is too afraid or too busy to throw them a rope. Ji-hoon stepped closer, using his height, his presence, tools that had made grown men confess to crimes. You've been here 2 weeks. You're a maid. What could you possibly understand? She didn't retreat. More than you think. There was something in her eyes. A shadow. A depth that spoke of pain intimately known. My children don't trust anyone, he said coldly. They don't trust you either, she replied. But they want to. They're just waiting for you to show up. The words hit like a bullet to the chest. You're dismissed, he said, his voice lethal. No, sir. Ji-hoon went very still. Excuse me? Respectfully, if you dismiss me now, those children will retreat further. They've just taken their first steps forward in years. Don't punish them because I spoke honestly. The audacity. The sheer nerve. He should fire her. Immediately. But she was right. And that infuriated him more than anything. This conversation isn't over, he said quietly. I want answers. Tonight. My study. 8 o'clock. I'll be there. She bowed again and returned to the dining room, and Ji-hoon heard it immediately, his children's voices lifting again, the tension dissolving. He stood alone in the hallway, a man who commanded an empire, who decided life and death with a phone call. Completely undone by a woman who'd accomplished the impossible. Who are you really, Mildred Ozarumba? 2 weeks earlier, Mildred had stood outside the Jang mansion gates in the pouring rain, her entire life reduced to a single backpack and a stolen passport. The help wanted posting had seemed too perfect, live-in housemaid. Remote estate. Discretion required. No background checks. The last part had sealed it. She'd been running for 3 months, from Lagos to Dubai, Dubai to Seoul. Always moving. Always hiding. Because the people hunting her didn't forgive. And they didn't forget. But she'd gotten sloppy, desperate. She needed money, shelter, and time to plan her next move. The Jang estate offered all three. What she hadn't expected were the children. Broken, angry, desperate children who reminded her of herself. Ji-hoon watched Mildred enter his study, noting everything. The way she moved, controlled, economical. The way her eyes swept the room, cataloging exits, objects, threats. The way she stood before his desk, centered, balanced. Not like a maid. Like someone with training. Sit, he commanded. She sat, but her posture remained alert. He slid a folder across the desk. Do you know what this is? She didn't touch it. I assume it's a background check. Attempted background check. He leaned back. Mildred Ozarumba. 28. Nigerian passport. You entered Korea 3 months ago on a tourist visa. Before that, he paused, nothing. You don't exist before Dubai. No employment records. No family. No history. Her expression never changed. So I'll ask again, Ji-hoon said softly, dangerously. Who are you? Someone who needed a job. Lies. Someone who's good with children. Not good enough. He stood, circling the desk like a shark. You move like someone with military training. You assess rooms like an operative. You don't fear me like you should. So tell me the truth, or I'll have my people extract it. It wasn't a bluff. Mildred was quiet for a long moment. Then, if you do that, I'll be gone by morning. And your children will break a little more. Is that what you want? What I want, he said, stopping behind her chair, is the truth. The truth is complicated. I specialize in complicated. She turned to face him, and for the first time, he saw genuine vulnerability in her eyes. I was a doctor, she said quietly. In Lagos. I worked with traumatized children, victims of trafficking, war, violence. I helped them heal. She paused. And then I witnessed something I shouldn't have. Powerful people. Terrible things. I tried to report it, and, her voice cracked slightly, they killed my entire team. Burned down the clinic with everyone inside. Ji-hoon's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. I ran, she continued. I've been running ever since. The passport is fake. The name is real. Everything else is survival. Why tell me this? Because you're going to find out anyway. And because, she stood, meeting his gaze, those children deserve honesty. Even if their father doesn't believe in it. The barb landed. You think you know me? His voice was velvet over steel. I know you're afraid. I'm not afraid of anything. You're terrified, she said simply. Terrified of losing them the way you lost her. So you keep them at arm's length. You throw money and specialists at them instead of yourself. Because if you don't get close, it won't hurt when. Enough. The word cracked through the room like a gunshot. They stood inches apart, the air between them electric and dangerous. Ji-hoon could smell her perfume, something subtle, warm. Could see the pulse at her throat, steady despite the confrontation. Could feel something he hadn't felt in 3 years stirring in his chest. Something he'd buried with his wife. You're playing a dangerous game, he said quietly. I'm not playing anything, Mr. Jang. I'm trying to help. Why? What do you gain? Maybe I'm tired of running. Maybe I see a chance to do something good before, she stopped. Before what? Before they find me. The admission hung between them. Who's looking for you? Ji-hoon asked, his mind already calculating, strategizing. People with long reach. Government connections. The kind of people who. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it and went rigid. Unknown number. A single message, beautiful children you have. Would be a shame if something happened to them. Attached was a photo taken today. Of his children. With Mildred. Okay, pause. If your heart is racing right now, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what you think Mildred is hiding, because this story is about to explode. Don't go anywhere. Ji-hoon's expression went cold, the kind of cold that preceded violence. When was this taken? His voice was deadly calm. Mildred looked at the phone and paled. Today. During lunch. But that angle, that's from the East Garden. No one has access. Someone does now. He was already moving, pulling a handgun from his desk drawer, pressing a button on his phone. Miho. Code black. Lockdown protocol. Now. Within seconds, steel shutters began descending over windows. Doors magnetically sealed. The mansion transformed into a fortress. The children, Mildred started. Are in the safest room in Seoul, Ji-hoon cut her off. Reinforced walls. Ex-military nannies I keep for emergencies. He turned to her, eyes blazing. But you brought this here. Whoever is hunting you just made my family a target. I didn't, I never thought. That's the problem. You didn't think. His phone buzzed again. Another message, ask her about the Okafor file. Ask her what she really saw in Lagos. Then decide if she's worth dying for. Ji-hoon's jaw clenched. What's the Okafor file? Mildred's face went ashen. How do they? What is it? Evidence, she whispered. Videos, documents, financial records. Proof that a Nigerian oil minister was trafficking children through his charity foundation. Selling them to, she closed her eyes, to people who paid premium prices, including several international buyers, government officials, CEOs, people whose names would collapse governments. And you have this evidence? I buried it. Multiple copies. Cloud servers, encrypted drives, dead drops across 3 continents. Insurance. If anything happens to me, it automatically releases to every major news outlet in the world. Ji-hoon stared at her, reassessing everything. This wasn't a traumatized doctor running from local corruption. This was someone sitting on a bomb that could destabilize international power structures. You're not just a witness, he said slowly. You're leverage. I'm a dead woman walking, she corrected. I've been living on borrowed time. I'm sorry, I never meant to endanger your children. I'll leave. Tonight. They'll follow me. No one is following you anywhere. Mr. Jang. Do you know what I am? He stepped closer, and for the first time, Mildred saw the full weight of the predator beneath the expensive suit. I'm not a businessman who dabbles in crime. I am the crime. Seoul's underworld answers to me. Ports, politicians, police, mine. You came to my house, helped my children, and now someone thinks they can threaten what's mine. His voice dropped to something primal. They just made the last mistake of their lives. Before Mildred could respond, the study door burst open. Miho, Ji-hoon's head of security, stood there, bleeding from a cut above his eye. Sir, we have a breach. South perimeter. 4 hostiles, professional grade. They're heading toward the children's wing. Ji-hoon moved like lightning, grabbing a second gun from his desk, checking the magazine. How far? 3 minutes. Maybe less. Deploy Team Alpha. Kill shots authorized. No prisoners. Sir, Miho hesitated, glancing at Mildred, they're asking for her. Said if we send her out, they'll leave the children unharmed. Ji-hoon's laugh was cold and terrifying. They think I negotiate with people who threaten my family? Send the message back in bullets. He started for the door, then paused, turning to Mildred. Can you shoot? Yes. He tossed her a handgun. Stay behind me. You want to protect my children? Now's your chance to prove. The mansion erupted into chaos. Gunfire shattered the silence as Ji-hoon's security team engaged the intruders. Mildred followed Ji-hoon through corridors she barely knew, her heart hammering, the gun heavy in her hand. They rounded a corner and came face to face with a masked operative. Ji-hoon fired twice, center mass, headshot. Clinical. Efficient. The man dropped. Keep moving, he commanded. Another hostile emerged from a side room. This one was faster, getting a shot off that whistled past Ji-hoon's head. Mildred didn't hesitate. She aimed and fired, hitting the attacker's shoulder, spinning him around. Ji-hoon finished it. Not bad, he muttered. I said I could shoot. They reached the children's wing. The reinforced door was still sealed, but someone was working on it with cutting equipment, sparks flying. Down. Ji-hoon yanked Mildred behind a marble column as bullets tore through the space they'd occupied. 2 more operatives, laying down suppressive fire. We're pinned, Mildred said. Ji-hoon's eyes scanned the environment, calculating. Then he smiled, cold and lethal. No. They are. He pressed a button on his phone. Hidden panels in the ceiling opened. Automated defense systems, illegal, military grade, descended. The targeting lasers found the hostiles in seconds. The guns didn't miss. When the smoke cleared, Ji-hoon stood, straightening his blood-spattered suit. Like I said. My house. My rules. He opened the reinforced door using his thumbprint. Inside, the triplets were huddled with 2 stone-faced female guards who immediately lowered their weapons when they saw Ji-hoon. Daddy. Haewon's cry was pure relief. All 3 children ran to him, and it clearly shocked him. They'd never done this before. Never sought his comfort. He knelt, and they crashed into his arms, trembling. "It's over," he said, his voice gentler than Mildred had ever heard. "You're safe." "We heard guns," Seo Jun whispered. "We thought." "I know. But I'm here. And I'm not going anywhere." Min Ji looked past her father. "Miss Mildred? Are you okay?" Mildred's throat tightened. Even in their fear, they thought of her. "I'm fine, sweetheart. Your father protected us." Ji-hoon's eyes met hers over his children's heads. Something passed between them. An understanding. A shift. The bodies were removed. The breach sealed. Police paid to look the other way. Just another night in Jang Ji-hoon's world. The children were finally asleep, in Ji-hoon's room, refusing to leave his side. He'd laid with them until exhaustion claimed them, something he hadn't done in years. Now he stood in his study with Mildred, pouring 2 glasses of whiskey. "You didn't have to stay," he said, handing her one. "After tonight, you could have run again. Your children were in danger because of me. Running would have been cowardice. It would have been survival. I'm tired of just surviving, Mr. Jang." "Ji-hoon," he corrected. "After someone tries to kill us together, formalities seem ridiculous." She smiled faintly, sipping the whiskey. "Ji-hoon then." He studied her, this woman who'd walked into his life and upended everything. The men who came tonight weren't Nigerian. They were Korean. Hired locally, which means whoever wants you has resources here. "I know. This won't stop. They'll come again." "I know that too. So what do you want to do?" Mildred met his eyes. "I want to stop running. I want to release the files and end this." "They'll kill you." "Probably. But at least those children, the ones in the files, might get justice. And yours will be safe." "No." She blinked. "No? You're not martyring yourself," Ji-hoon said flatly. "There's another way." "Which is?" He set down his glass, his expression shifting into something calculating and dangerous, the face of the criminal mastermind he truly was. "We don't just release the files. We leverage them. I have connections, media, government, international channels. We release the evidence strategically, with protection, with narrative control. We make you untouchable by making you too visible to kill. That's risky." "Yes. But you came to the right place." His smile was sharp. "I don't lose, Mildred. And I don't let people take what's mine. I'm not yours." The air between them changed. Ji-hoon stepped closer, and Mildred's breath caught. "Aren't you?" His voice was low, intimate. "You've been living in my house. Caring for my children. Bleeding alongside me. If that doesn't make you mine, what does?" "Ji-hoon. I haven't felt anything since my wife died," he continued, brutal in his honesty. 3 years of nothing. Just cold. Just survival. And then you walked in and made my children smile. Made me feel again. Anger, fear, hope," he paused, "want." Mildred's pulse raced. "This is a bad idea." "Terrible," he agreed. "You're my employer." "Not anymore. As of tonight, you're under my protection. Full partner. Equal status. You barely know me. I know you ran into danger for my children. I know you shoot straight and don't break under pressure. I know you've survived things that would destroy weaker people." He lifted his hand, fingertips grazing her cheek. "I know when you look at me, you see a man, not a monster. And that's more than anyone has seen in years. Your children adore you. They've already accepted you in ways they never accepted anyone else. I'm still in danger. Then I'll eliminate the danger. Just like that? Just like that." Mildred should step back. Should maintain distance. Should remember all the reasons this was impossible. Instead, she leaned into his touch. "You're insane," she whispered. "Probably," he murmured, his lips inches from hers. "Is that a yes?" "To what?" "To staying. To fighting. He hesitated, vulnerable for the first time, to trying this. "Whatever this is." Mildred's hand came up to rest against his chest, feeling his heartbeat, strong, steady, alive. "Yes," she breathed. "God help me, yes." He kissed her then, fierce and desperate and hungry. A man starving for connection, for warmth, for life. And she kissed him back with equal intensity, pouring 3 months of fear and loneliness and need into the connection. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Ji-hoon rested his forehead against hers. "No more running," he said. "No more running," she agreed. Neither of them saw the red laser dot that briefly appeared on the window before vanishing into the night. The war wasn't over. It had just begun. The plan was in motion. 1 week later. Ji-hoon's contacts had authenticated Mildred's files. The evidence was devastating: names, faces, transactions. A network of powerful predators who'd operated in shadows for decades. The release was scheduled for 48 hours from now, coordinated across 12 international media outlets simultaneously. Mildred would do a protected interview, face visible, identity public, removing any benefit to silencing her. The truth would be her shield. But first, they had to survive until then. Something had shifted in the Jang household. The children noticed it immediately, the way their father smiled more. The way he touched Miss Mildred's shoulder when he passed. The way she poured his coffee without asking how he took it. "Are you and Miss Mildred in love?" Min-ji asked suddenly over breakfast, her 7-year-old directness cutting through pretense. Ji-hoon nearly choked on his coffee. Mildred blushed, beautiful and flustered. "Min-ji," Ji-hoon started, "that's not." "I hope you are," Seo-jun interrupted seriously. "Miss Mildred makes you less scary. And she makes us happy. So it would be good if she stayed forever." "Forever is a long time," Mildred said gently. "Mom didn't get forever," Hae-won said quietly, her small voice carrying weight. "She left too soon. But you're here now. And Daddy smiles again. So maybe," she looked at her father with heartbreaking hope, "maybe this time forever could work." Ji-hoon's throat tightened. He looked at Mildred, seeing his own emotions reflected in her eyes. "Maybe it could," he said softly. The moment was interrupted by Miho entering urgently. "Sir. We have a problem." "The man coordinating the hits," Miho said, pulling up a photo on his tablet. "We finally identified him." Mildred looked at the image and went white. "No," she whispered. "That's impossible." Ji-hoon looked between her and the photo. "You know him?" "That's Marcus Okafor," she said, voice shaking. "The oil minister's son. He was," her voice cracked, "he was my fiancé. In Lagos. Before everything happened." The room went silent. "Your fiancé?" Ji-hoon's voice was dangerously quiet. "Ex-fiancé. When I discovered what his father was doing, when I gathered the evidence, I went to Marcus first. I thought," she laughed bitterly, "I thought he was innocent. That he'd help me expose it. What did he do?" "He tried to kill me himself." She touched her side reflexively. "The scar I have, that was Marcus. He shot me and left me for dead in my apartment. Set it on fire. I barely escaped." Ji-hoon's hands curled into fists. "And now he's here. In Seoul. He won't stop," Mildred said. "Not until I'm dead and the evidence is destroyed. This isn't just business for him, it's personal. I betrayed him. Humiliated his family. He'll burn everything down to get to me. Then we get to him first. Ji-hoon, he's dangerous. So am I." Miho cleared his throat. Sir, there's more. Okafor isn't working alone. He's partnered with someone local. Someone with access to, he paused uncomfortably, with access to your personal security details. Ice ran down Ji-hoon's spine. A mole? We're running checks now, but yes. Someone on the inside has been feeding him information. Before Ji-hoon could respond, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered on speaker. Speak. Jang Ji-hoon. The voice was accented, smooth, cultured. Marcus Okafor. The man who thinks he can protect what's mine. Mildred was never yours. She wore my ring. Shared my bed. Built a life with me. Then she destroyed everything. The smooth tone turned venomous. I loved her. And she chose strangers, children, over me. Over our future. You chose trafficking innocent children over her, Mildred said coldly. Don't rewrite history, Marcus. Mildred, darling. I've missed your voice. He sounded genuinely pleased. Come home. Come back to Lagos. We can fix this. My father is dead now, killed by competitors who blamed him after your little evidence cache was discovered last year. The business is mine. We can start over. I'd rather die. That can be arranged too. But first, I'll take everything you love. Those children you're playing house with? I'll make sure they suffer. And Jang? I'll dismantle his empire piece by piece while he watches. Ji-hoon's smile was terrifying. You're welcome to try. I've buried better men than you. We'll see. 48 hours, Mildred. Before your grand media reveal. Let's see if you survive that long. The line went dead. You should have told me. Ji-hoon's voice was tight with controlled fury. That you were engaged to him. That this was personal. Would it have changed anything? Mildred shot back. Yes. I would have known we're not just dealing with hired assassins. We're dealing with a man obsessed. Betrayed lovers don't think rationally, they think emotionally. That makes him unpredictable. Dangerous. You think I don't know that? Mildred's voice rose. I've been running from him for months. I know exactly how dangerous he is. Then why stay? Why risk my children for? For what? She was in his face now, eyes blazing. For a chance at something normal? For children who actually needed me? For a man who made me feel something other than fear for the first time in a year? Mildred. I fell in love with them. The confession burst out of her, raw and desperate. With Seo Jun's rare smiles, with Minji's questions, with Haewon's laughter. With the family I never thought I'd have. And, her voice broke, and with you. I fell in love with you, Ji-hoon. So no, I didn't tell you about Marcus because I was terrified that if you knew how complicated this was, you'd send me away. And I couldn't bear it. Ji-hoon stared at her, chest heaving. Then he pulled her into his arms, fierce and possessive. I'm not sending you away, he said into her hair. I'm ending this. Tonight. How? He pulled back, his expression shifting into the cold calculation of the criminal mastermind. We draw him out. Use yourself as bait. Absolutely not. With me as the trap. Did you really think, Ji-hoon said softly, walking forward as his men disarmed Marcus's team, that I'd let you walk into my home without controlling every variable? Marcus's composure finally cracked. You. I'm Jang Ji-hoon. This is Seoul. This is my kingdom. He stopped inches from Marcus. And you threatened my family. Marcus lunged for a concealed weapon. Mildred was faster. Her shot took him in the shoulder, spinning him around. He collapsed, gasping, staring up at her in shock and betrayal. You shot me, he said, disbelieving. You shot me first, Mildred replied coldly. Left me for dead. Tried to kill children. This is mercy, Marcus. Be grateful. Ji-hoon crouched beside him. You're going to disappear. My people will make sure the right authorities in Nigeria and Interpol know exactly where to find you. You'll stand trial for everything. And you'll rot in a cell for the rest of your life, knowing the woman you wanted chose someone else. Chose a life you'll never touch. Marcus laughed bitterly, blood on his teeth. You think you've won? You think this is over? Yes, Ji-hoon said simply. It is. Security dragged Marcus away, still ranting. When the ballroom was clear, Ji-hoon turned to Mildred. She was shaking, adrenaline crashing. He pulled her close. It's over. You're safe. Is it really? She whispered. Is it really over? The files are public. Marcus is in custody. The networks he worked with are being torn apart. You're too visible to kill now. Too protected. He lifted her chin. It's over. You can stop running. Tears spilled down her cheeks, relief, exhaustion, grief, joy all tangled together. I don't know how to stop, she admitted. Then I'll teach you. He kissed her forehead. One day at a time. Sunlight streamed through the dining room windows. The triplets sat at the table, arguing cheerfully over who got the last piece of bacon. Min-ji had extra yesterday. Seo-jun protested. Did not. Did too. Children, Mildred said, bringing another plate from the kitchen. There's plenty. No fighting. They immediately quieted, grinning at her. Ji-hoon walked in, straightening his tie, and stopped to take in the scene. His children, healthy and happy. Mildred, moving through his home like she'd always belonged. The family he'd thought impossible after his wife's death, rebuilt in ways he'd never imagined. Daddy. Hae-won called. Miss Mildred made your favorite. Did she? He met Mildred's eyes, warm and full of promise. I did, she confirmed. Sit. Eat. You have that meeting at 10. Bossy, he murmured, kissing her cheek as he passed. You like it, she whispered back. I like you. Just like love, he corrected, quiet enough only she could hear. I love you. Her smile could have lit the entire mansion. I love you too. Seo-jun made a gagging sound. Gross. They're being romantic again. I think it's nice, Min-ji said primly. Miss Mildred deserves romance. When are you getting married? Hae-won asked suddenly. Because if you marry Daddy, you'll officially be our mom, right? That's how it works. Mildred nearly dropped the juice pitcher. Ji-hoon coughed. The children stared at them expectantly. Well, Ji-hoon said slowly, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. He'd been carrying it for 2 weeks, waiting for the right moment. That depends on Miss Mildred's answer. He opened the box. A ring glittered in the morning light, elegant, understated, perfect. Mildred's hands flew to her mouth. Mildred Ozarumba, Ji-hoon said, dropping to one knee right there in the dining room with his children watching. You walked into my life and changed everything. You gave me back my children. You gave me back my heart. You made me believe in second chances. Will you marry me? Will you be my partner, my love, my equal? Will you be their mother and my wife? Tears streamed down her face. Yes, she whispered. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. The children erupted in cheers. Ji-hoon stood, sliding the ring onto her finger, and kissed her, deep and loving and full of promise. When they broke apart, Seo-jun was grinning. Does this mean we get cake? We're not getting married right this second, Mildred laughed. But soon? Min-ji asked hopefully. Soon, Ji-hoon confirmed, wrapping an arm around Mildred's waist. Very soon. Hae-won hugged them both. Good. Because you're already my mom anyway. Now it'll just be official. Mildred's heart shattered and rebuilt in the same moment. This was what she'd been running toward all along. Not away from danger. Toward love. Toward family. Toward home. Now, Ji-hoon said, returning to his seat and pulling Mildred onto his lap despite her laughing protest, "Let's eat breakfast before it gets cold. We have a wedding to plan." And for the first time in years, the Jang family dining room was filled with exactly what it had been missing. Laughter. Love. Life. And the promise of forever. So, did Mildred and Ji-hoon give you all the feels or what? A mafia billionaire. A woman on the run. 3 broken children healed by love. Forbidden romance that turned into something beautiful and dangerous and real. If you loved this story, if you felt every emotion, if you're sitting there wishing this was a whole drama series, smash that subscribe button right now. We create stories like this every single week. Dark romance. Forbidden love. Strong leads. Major plot twists. Drop a comment and tell me, what was your favorite moment? The first kiss? The final confrontation? The proposal? I read every single comment and your reactions literally make my day. Share this video with someone who loves a good love story with action and danger. And if you want more stories with Afro-Korean romance, mafia themes, and powerful female leads, check out the videos on screen right now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting this channel. And remember, the best love stories are the ones worth fighting for. I'll see you in the next one.